What's going on, champs and chambettes? It's your favorite COVID-having YouTuber over here on the commentary channel, and in today's YouTube video, we have to talk about Call of Duty and Xbox. Specifically, Xbox having, Call of Duty potentially coming to Game Pass in the near future, and of course, what's going to happen in terms of exclusive content. We have little snippets here and there from an official interview that Phil Spencer had actually put off recently regarding the whole entire Activision, Blizzard, King, X, Microsoft merger, and that's kind of what we're going to be talking about today. So over here, I'm going to go ahead and show a tweet by Charlie Intel, which talks about Phil Spencer talking about Call of Duty and talking about how he wants 100% parity on content that is released for Call of Duty being on all platforms. So as we go ahead and start it here, I'll just go ahead and let you guys listen to it, and I'll pause it here and there as we kind of give my own feedback to everything, but here we go.
Players on PlayStation and in the future on Nintendo, I want you to feel 100% part of the community.
Now, I'm going to actually quickly pause that because as you heard, he mentioned PlayStation and Nintendo. One thing that has been very well known about Nintendo is that it hasn't received a Call of Duty game in ages. And I don't think there's a single Call of Duty game that is actually on the Switch. The oldest Call of Duty game I can remember being on a Nintendo device would have to be Black Ops Declassified for the Wii, or was it the Wii U? It was one of those things because it had Nuke House as a map, which was literally Nuketown cut in half. And it was a map that I would love to see come to the normal Call of Duty and everything, but we haven't actually seen Nintendo having Call of Duty on it in the longest time. So seeing him mention that he wants to have this Nintendo friendship going on with Call of Duty releasing on those platforms as well is something that is nice to hear about. It's going to be interesting to see how the polarity works and if they're going to make it so, Switch players get matched in lobbies with Call of Duty mobile players or what they're going to do there. And then, of course, there's PlayStation, which has already been kind of the home for Call of Duty for the past few years.
I don't want you to feel like there's content you're missing out, there's skins you're missing out, there's timing that you're missing out on.
Now, that right there is specifically talking about the fact that on PlayStation, there's so many little benefits and everything for being a PlayStation player. You can get access to the beta a weekend early. You can get access to actual bundles and everything else that are only on PlayStation. There's a lot of PlayStation Plus exclusives out there, and a lot of things that are very weird to see them do at Call of Duty. And one of the weird things with the PlayStation Plus exclusives that I personally dislike is how you can only see them on PlayStation, right? It's a cool skin or whatever. You can get a whole entire Oni operator themed character or whatever in Call of Duty, but at the same time, that is a character that other people on PC, Xbox, whatever else can't see. And if you have a blueprint for a weapon that is a PlayStation Plus exclusive weapon design, it will just look like the normal weapon on other platforms. It'll look like it didn't have a skin, a camo, or anything on it, and it is odd to see them do this whole entire system, and it's interesting to see how they're like, yeah, we don't want people to miss out on those exclusive cosmetics or whatever and have it restricted to just one platform.
That's not the goal. The goal is 100% parity across all platforms as much as we can for launching content. I say as much as we can on parity because clearly some platforms have resolution and frame rate differences just based on perf.
Yeah, based on that alone, we can tell that whatever is going on with the Switch is most likely what they mean about frame rate and performance differences, because of the fact that if they're going to put it on the Switch, let's assume that they're going to actually put it on the brand new Switch coming out very soon, which is supposed to be an upgraded model. It's supposed to support, I think, upscaled to 1440p or 4K or something along those lines. It definitely is going to need some little changes here and there in order to be on the parity system, where you could play the same DLC that releases on, for example, Xbox Series X or PC on the actual mobile Switch device as well.
But there's nothing else. We have no goal of somehow trying to use Call of Duty to get you to buy an Xbox console. So it is, I want the Call of Duty nation to feel supported across all platforms. We've been on the other side of some of those skins and times, even this beta, it wasn't on Xbox the first week.
As you guys can see right there, though, sorry about me being sick, he's kind of mentioning as hey, we're not trying to do something where it's buy an Xbox to play the DLC or a new season a month early, baby, or anything like that. We want everyone to be able to enjoy all the content as it releases, because they've even mentioned and pointed out specifically PlayStation being able to play the beta a whole entire weekend early, and they're not trying to leave anyone out, right? They're not trying to have it so it's Xbox gets a month early of a beta or anything like that. They want it so when the beta releases, everyone can play it, regardless of the platform platform you play on. And it is an interesting little thing that, while it was mentioned in the FTC documents before, is nice to hear them vocally say. Now, there have been times when Xbox and Microsoft have backtraced and stuff they've said before, but it is going to be interesting to see if they keep their word here and continue going with it as this good guy approach, being like, yeah, we don't want to do any of that bad stuff, and allow for this kind of like complete console synergy, having crossplay and all that type of stuff without any worries at all.
I don't think that helps the community. I don't think that helps the game. And so it's the focus. If you're a PlayStation player, you're a Nintendo player, PC player, or an Xbox console player, I want you to feel like 100% part of the Call of Duty nation.
Yeah, that right there is just a nice thing to see, how he's like, yeah, we want to make sure that regardless if you're on PlayStation, PC, Nintendo, whatever else, your grandma's toaster, you have to be a full part of the community. You're not missing out on any of the content, and you're able to enjoy it with all of your friends regardless of what they play on as well. So if you're someone playing on your Samsung smartphone and you want to play with your friend who's playing on their graffitied wall from the basement, I don't even know, that has some type of smart technology, that's available for you. You're allowed to do it. You can play with them, and you can even hook up with a homie who's currently playing Call of Duty inside of his Tesla. But of course, he goes on to talk about Xbox and Activision Blizzard King games over on Game Pass, stating the following.
Games to Game Pass and other platforms. And I think like speculation and wish lists have been running wild ever since last week. So I'm sure you've seen all of that. But what does that mean exactly, especially when we think about our last acquisition in 2021 with Bethesda? There was a fairly immediate drop of back catalog games. So I think people are looking to that and wondering, is that kind of how the format is going to go now, or what does that actually look like?
And I think rightfully so, right? When we finished Bethesda, there was this great moment. We were able to put a bunch of the back catalog games in, celebrate their history. The truth of the matter is, with Activision Blizzard King, that the regulatory process took so long. And frankly, there was a lot of uncertainty in that process up until really a week before we closed, or the week of, when the CMA finally came down to their decision, that we weren't able to get in and work with mostly Activision and Blizzard in this case, on that back catalog work. So now that
So what he's kind of saying here is that, hey, we wanted to do what we did with other companies when we acquired them, such as Bethesda, and put some games on Game Pass right away. However, we didn't have the time to work through on actually getting that system set up and getting the talks through regarding Game Pass, because there was a lot of uncertainty as if this deal is going to actually close until the very, very final week, right? Because that was when they were like, all right, we're good, we're set, we're getting Activision Blizzard King, and now we can actually focus on Game Pass and all that type of stuff. And he kind of goes on to say here, I do believe, or he'll mention in a second, talking about 2024 is most likely around the time we'll start seeing those changes happen, because of the fact that they'll have time then to actually discuss everything and get everything set up while the whole entire Sony contract with Call of Duty or whatever expires next year.
The deal is closed. We're starting that work, but there is work. And I think the Activision Twitter handle, or X handle, whatever we're calling it, did put out a statement. I can't call it X, but
yeah, well, even they're like, hey, I'm not calling it X, it's Twitter. They understand us, because I know it's unrelated to everything, but I'm still going to call it X. No, wait a minute. I'm still calling it Twitter, regardless of what actually happens here.
Twitter handle did put out something that talked about 2024. I think that's accurate. There's no I would love it if there was some kind of secret celebration drop that's coming in the next couple of weeks. There's not.
Yeah, so for anyone wanting like Diablo 4 or Overwatch, I don't really know how you put Overwatch in Game Pass, but anyone who wants like Diablo 4 or like Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3 or whatever to be on Game Pass, it doesn't appear like there's going to be any secret drops within the next few weeks, and instead it's going to be something where we have to wait until 2024 to start seeing more and more of the Activision Blizzard games coming to the platform in the Game Pass system.
Definitely when we think about the new games that are there, I would be straight with people, right? If we were going to put them in the subscription this year, I would tell people, and I know there'll be some disappointment about that. This acquisition is definitely long-term. So the fact that we're not hitting day one with a bunch of games dropping in to Game Pass is a little bit of a downer, but I'm very excited about the future. And I just want to be straight with people that that's where we are.
I love this open communication they're actually having with everyone regarding, hey, yeah, we wish we could put everything on Game Pass right away, but of course this stuff's going to take some time, and we are super excited to hope that this later down the line continues to be really beneficial and really exciting for the future of Xbox and the whole entire partnership they have, or I guess ownership they have now, of Activision, Blizzard, King, and all that type of stuff, and who knows what they're going to end up doing with Call of Duty and stuff going forwards. I think one of the things that's going to be super interesting to me is if they do something like giving away the Battle Pass to Xbox Game Pass owners, or if they do some type of, like, instead of exclusive operator bundle in Call of Duty that you can only get by actually having an Xbox device, they release a cosmetic in the store, something like a specific bundle or something, and then they give it away for free to Xbox Game Pass members. They've done kind of similar things before with Halo Infinite, for example, where instead of just giving away, you know, these exclusive cosmetics or whatever, you would get a code to be able to redeem a Xbox themed camo for different weapons. And then over the years and everything else, they released, you know, different designs and everything. Now, I know specifically Halo Infinite is a Xbox and PC only game that's not on PlayStation, but I definitely see that if they're trying to have like this 100% parity on every console or whatever else, they could release a little code giveaway or whatever to Xbox Game Pass members that gets them benefits for the game they play. I mean, even with Overwatch, we recently saw it give everyone who had Xbox Game Pass the starter pack for every single new hero that released ever since Overwatch 2's launch, and all of the new heroes as well, including the Ilaria newest hero and everything else. So it is interesting to see that kind of synergy going on here, and that being a potential possibility for what they do going forwards. But of course, hope you champs and champions enjoy this little bit of a deep dive into everything happening with Call of Duty, Activision Blizzard, and the Xbox Game Pass merger. I'm excited to see the future of what it brings to the whole entire platform, and I hope that they keep their word and it ends up being a really nice benefit, because even though I'm a more of like a shill for Xbox, I prefer Xbox over PlayStation. I do own a PlayStation. I do own an Xbox. I own the premium subscriptions on both platforms, and I just want to make sure that regardless of where anyone plays, they're able to have the same amount of fun without feeling like they're missing out on any content just because one company or the other actually owns a certain company that makes a game they enjoy. So until next time, I'll see you champs and champions a little bit later, and peace out.